You must have self-drive, self-discipline, and self-motivation to be your best. Where do you get it? Experts agree to be great, you must have goals, first and foremost. Well, Rick Houcek does not agree. Rick, who is an avid goal setter and teaches international audiences a life planning and personal goal-setting system, says goals are not the most important element to success. What is? Something Rick says more people are completely out of touch with. Rick Houcek is a former corporate president who gives frequent keynotes and workshops to audiences of associations, CEOs, senior managers, and employees, blue and white collar, in organizations just like yours. Now let's join Rick as he shares a model for personal success.
A wise old man was beginning a journey of 1,000 miles on foot. The journey would take him over rugged terrain, mountains, desert, forests. Deep into his journey, he came across a military crossing guard. Brandishing his weapon, the guard thrust it in front of him and said, "Halt! Who are you? And where are you going?" The man was startled at first, and he thought for a second, and a smile cracked across his face. He looked up and said, "Young man, of course I will answer your question, but first, please answer one for me. How much do they pay crossing guards in this country?" And the guard, startled himself, no one had ever asked him, said, "Why, 25 shlebutkas a week. Why do you ask?" And the old man said, "I will pay you 25 shlebutkas a week if you will ask me those same two questions every day for the rest of my life." I love that story. Who are you and where are you going? Two questions that you and I spend precious little time thinking about because of the pace of life. We never get time to think about them. And as a matter of fact, success is talked about so much in our culture today. And what is the number one thing that is said to be the number one predictor of success is, are you a goal setter? Goal setting is key. If you're not goal setting, you can't be successful. And I think that's a crock. And that's very difficult for me to say because I teach goal setting. I do a workshop internationally called Self-Motivation for Winners, How to Take Control of Your Life. And it's a life planning system for people. I teach the tools for people to have, do, and become everything they want. And it includes a process of goal setting. So it's very difficult for me to say goal setting is not the number one and most important thing in your business or personal success. Well, what is? Well, I think there are two things that are the most important. And I think most people are out of touch with what those two things are. Because in the pace of life, we get caught up doing things every day. You do, I do. And at the end of the day, sometimes our head hits the pillow and we got a lot done, but we don't feel very fulfilled because we didn't do the right things, because we missed the boat on the two focus points. Let me tell you a couple of things that I have in my workshop, and I will hold back those last two most important things for the very end. First and foremost, I encourage people to have a master want list. In fact, put everything into a 3-ring binder so it's together in one place. A master want list where you keep in one location everything you might ever want to have, do, or become. This is an ongoing list. It's lifelong. It'll be pages and pages long over time. You'll be crossing things off as you accomplish them. Keep in one place a master want list. Whether you think of something in a meeting, in your car while you're driving, or in the shower, get it on that list. Whether it's anything you might want to have, do, or become. Secondly, you want to keep a fulfilling events list. This is kind of like a diary, but a little different. A diary, which we all did in junior high school, was something that includes all the pros and cons, the good, the bad, the positive, and the negative of your life. It's everything that went well and things that didn't go well. A fulfilling events list is different in this way. It is only the positive things. In other words, it's only the fulfilling events. It's the proud moments, the rewarding accomplishments, and the goals achieved of your life. Keep a running list of all those things that made you feel good about yourself. So it's just positives. The world is too full of negativity for us to be reminding ourselves of the things that went wrong in our own lives. So only record the positive things on your fulfilling events list. Review it often for that shot in the arm when you need it. Also, for goal setting, I teach people to do goals on one sheet of paper. It's an action plan, and here are the components of that one sheet of paper. It's got several self-motivating tools on it. First and foremost, write the goal in 1 or 2 sentences using the 5-word SMART acronym. S-M-A-R-T, specific, measurable, achievable, reviewable, time-dated. Those are critical. And the fifth of the 5 is time dated, and that means a deadline, a specific deadline that you have to have. No deadline, and you only have a dream, you only have a wish, but you don't have a goal. Deadlines push human beings into action. Proof positive, watch the last 5 minutes of any close NBA basketball game. You will see some of the most exciting basketball you'll ever see. Why? Because the deadline is approaching. You know it, I know it, the coaches know it, the players know it, the fans watching at home know it. The pace of play quickens, everything accelerates, players are taking chances they weren't taking earlier in the game. Everything gets more exciting. Why? Because in a few minutes, there will be one loser and there will be one winner. And that gets people into action. Deadlines work on us, so use deadlines on yourself. Always have a deadline. SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, reviewable, and time dated. If your goal, when worded, fits into that 5-word acronym and holds up against it, you've got a great goal. Second thing on that sheet is you need to articulate the benefits that will come to you if you accomplish the goal. In other words, be very selfish at this point. What will come to me? What do I get out of this if I accomplish the goal? This is the main reason that most of us don't accomplish our goals. Because, in fact, the main reason that most New Year's resolutions are shot by January 15th or February 1st, or maybe some that you set January 1st are already done by now. The reason is because we forgot why we wanted to do it. We forgot what the benefits were. Write these down in the beginning. This is your review list when you need it later. So next thing you need to know is what are the resources you need to accomplish the goal. Do you need time, money, tools? Do you need support of other people, knowledge that you don't have? What do you need? Articulate that up front. Get real clear on it. You also want to know the obstacles that could happen and the solutions for each. So beside each obstacle that could occur, write the possible solution. This gives you a feeling of invincibility when you suddenly know in advance, here are 5 or 6 things that could go wrong, and I know exactly what I'm going to do when they will, if they do go wrong. So you won't think of everything, but most of the things you'll think of. So write them down, and it gives you that real feeling of being unstoppable. Then you want to have the action plan, which is a chronological order of what you're going to do when, in sequence. I'll do this by this date, this by this date, this by this date. And then presumably the last date of your action steps would be the completion date of the goal. And then finally at the bottom, I would encourage you to sign it. In other words, you're signing a contract with yourself to complete the goal. Even if nobody else ever sees this sheet, you are signing a contract with yourself. We all know the power of a signed contract. We've leased or rented cars. We've leased or rented apartments and homes. You know you're on the line for it when you put your signature on it. You put your signature on your goal. It's the most important thing to you. You also need to, after the goal sheet, you need what I consider to be positive self-talk or affirmations. This is not a new science, and I didn't invent it. Affirmations have been around for centuries, but people have only been using them for their own well-being and their own achievement in the last several decades. It really started in the Olympics, probably in the 50s or 60s, when athletes were taught to use affirmations to convince themselves to believe in their performance yet to come. So use affirmations. These are positive I statements put in the present tense of an outcome you want to have happen. In other words, if you wanted to lose, say, 30 pounds by July 15th, your goal would be written in the future tense. It would say, I will weigh 150 pounds on July 15th, future tense. The affirmation would be worded in the present tense. In other words, it might be worded something like this. I weigh 150 pounds today, and I look and feel fantastic. Now, you might say, but why would you word it in the present tense when that goal is 30 pounds and several months away? Because your mind will get you flowing in the direction of that goal if you make it believe that you've already accomplished it. So your mind can't tell the difference between reality and fiction vividly imagined. So the affirmation is always written in the positive sense. Reread these frequently, every day, every morning, when you get up in the morning and before you go to bed at night. In addition to affirmations, you also need one other element, and that is a positive support group. I would get a group of 1 to 5 or 8 friends of people who will meet like-minded people who are very achievement-oriented like you are, who are willing to meet on a frequent basis and encourage each other, comfort and support each other. You do not want to be judgmental in these meetings. These are friends who are there to encourage and push you, and you're there to push them. So those are the 5 elements. But none of those together will give you, I believe, the passion to be fulfilled and happy unless you have these 2 most important. And they are these. Number 1, You must have a clearly articulated personal life mission. Your personal core purpose, your reason for being. Why are you here? My personal life mission is to help ambitious people to become successful, self-motivated achievers, and I do it proudly and passionately every day. That's it.